Okay, brilliant. Cool. So I just want to start off with something. When I do this, you do. Yes. Oh my gosh. Thank you. Yeah. So we're going to try it again. When I do this. Oh yeah. I reckon we could do better than that. Are you ready, girls? Yeah. Yeah. Great. Ready? Brilliant. Yeah. So that's actually got nothing to do with what I'm going to talk about. I just wanted to test it. I've been doing a lot of online talks recently, and I thought you can't do that with people online, so thanks.
Science, isn't it? We're all excited.
Yeah, it gives me a bit of confidence, yeah, because you're like, yay, brilliant. Okay, good. So, yes, we're here to hear about the innovation funnel. Now, I called it the innovation funnel really because it's hopefully going to be a tool that brings in a lot of different things in order to help our companies and the organisations that we work for and the people that actually build that organisation to become a bit more innovative. Now, I'm a little bit wary of the word innovation because it's a bit of a bling word at the moment, along with diversity and inclusion and lots of other things. And unless we actually do it, it doesn't really mean anything. So I'm glad you're all sitting down because I don't have any slides. Great.
Sorry. Was that the reaction you got?
No, I was just glad that you were sitting down. That was all. Yeah, yeah. And actually, I'm going to just be drawing stuff off because I think if we're going to be a bit more innovative or essentially have a bit more creativity within our organisations, we kind of need to do things a little bit differently. So hopefully you'll be able to see this. And if you can't, then you can just come up, take a photo afterwards or just talk to me about it. So let's get cracking. So the innovation funnel looks like that. Pretty complicated, complex stuff. I mean, that's why we're here, isn't it? Complexity within our organisations. Now, at the top here, we have the business. Now, we often talk about the business and say, oh yeah, I just need to get agreement from the business. And it's like this kind of higher realm that nobody really knows who sits there. Now, I'm calling this the business because we know there's leadership, there's people up there, and hopefully you're able to sort of name people in your business that you need to go to. Now, essentially, the business is full of people like me, like you, employees, right? You can't actually have a business of any type or organisation without people. Is that a too crazy a thought? Does anybody disagree with me? Amazing. So far, this is going really well. You've done a Mexican wave and you're agreeing about that. Cool. So I think in order for an innovation funnel or innovation in general to be able to happen, it's kind of a two-way relationship. You've got stuff that you need from the business, from the organisation, but you've also got to give back. Again, something fairly complex there, a couple of arrows. So as you, as me, as us, as people building that organisation, what are we going to give back? So let's talk first about what the business is going to give to us. I need time. If I'm going to be creative in the way that I think, I need to actually have time to think. Now this isn't in itself isn't a crazy idea, and I think throughout all the talks today, especially mainly in this room that I've been in, is we've been talking about we just need a bit of time to think. But it's much easier said than done. And I'll talk about that a bit more. We need some sort of money pot, or innovation pot, as I like to call it. And the last thing is autonomy. Another buzzword that we love to use when we talk about agile transformations, like autonomous teams. So I want to break that down. So the time to think. Let's do a little clock. Time to think. Now, I'm trying to talk to organisations, talk to teams about 1 hour of boredom a week. Most people don't react very well to this. They're like, what? the idea is to make people like come to work and like know that they're, bringing value and all of that sort of jazzy words and things like that. But I wonder if we can actually challenge the teams, our organisation, to actually have 1 hour of boredom. Because the Wright brothers didn't put planes in the sky just from overthinking and constantly being like bombarded with, deadlines and all these other things. We didn't manage to invent things that we use in our day-to-day, like our dishwashers. I think it was Tabitha, something, I've forgotten her surname, which is actually terrible, isn't it? But we need time to think. So I challenge, whether you're a leader here, whether you're a manager, whether you're just a member of a team, to say, how about we have 1 hour a week just to be bored? And when I say be bored, I mean you can go out for a walk. You can define that as a team, as an organisation, what that means. But what it doesn't mean is still focusing and having the pressure of doing your actual day-to-day job. So time for boredom. So if the business and the organisation can give you 1 hour of boredom, if we wanted to broaden that out and think, well, actually, maybe 1 hour a week is too much. Can we really afford that? Which I'm pretty sure we can afford it, but let's argue that we can't afford that. Well, what about the idea of a hackathon type scenario? Now, it's again a bit of a buzzword, but what I mean by that is that maybe 1 day a quarter to say, you can bring any idea to the organisation and you're going to have 24 hours to be able to make it happen. And I'm not talking about a PowerPoint to be like, oh, look, this is my idea and this is what we're going to do. There's got to be some sort of tangible action, tangible program, platform, whatever it is that's in place. Now, I used to work with The Economist, great firm, love it very much. And that was one thing that they used to do, like once a quarter, I think. And I didn't drive this change, but what I did is I absolutely loved it because I thought, how brilliant. People get 1 day a week to actually go away and think, I've had this idea and there hasn't been a space in my diary to be able to go forward and do something with it. So that was brilliant. So either 1 hour a week or 1 day a quarter, however you want to do it. Having time to think. Money. Right. So I call this the innovation, my spelling is horrendous. It'd be embarrassing if I can't spell that, wouldn't it? Thanks for the laugh. Was that you, Jess? Great. Good to have support from your company. Innovation pot. Now, I used to work for Network Rail. Way. Now, for me to get here last night, it actually took me 6 hours. It was meant to be a 1 hour train journey. Network Rail, great company. They are a great company, they're really, really good. And I remember in the early days, this was almost 20 years ago, my boss came to me and said, Helen, I've got this amazing project for you. And I was like, woohoo, this is great, amazing, trains in one sentence. Didn't know that was possible, but that's all right, it is possible apparently. He said, basically, not only are you going to be helping people and somebody's circumstance, you're also going to be helping the wider society. And what I want you to do is go to prison. I was like, oh my God, that's like my biggest fear, basically, is going to prison. I was like, okay, but that sounds scary, but actually quite interesting. Tell me a little bit more. And he said, well, what we're going to do is we want to be able to help people, help offenders who are just about to be released, not to go back into their ordinary sort of environment where usually you have re-offending, which is really rubbish. But actually, if we train them up in the skills that we can do, we can then have this employment program through Network Rail, and part of your job is to help me do that. And part of my job was basically to install a simulated sort of environment within this prison to train them up. So I said, this sounds amazing, and you know how much, HS2 costs and all the rest of it. I said, how much money do I have? And I don't know why I had to do that accent, but anyway. And he said, well, this is the best bit. He's like, 0. You have 0 budget. So my innovation pot started with 0. And that meant that I had to be uber creative with what I did. Now, bearing in mind, at this time, I was about 20, 21 years old. And so I called all my mates in the depots and I said, guys, you know what, I'm going to say something crazy here, but I've got 0 money, I've got no project money at all, but how can I get a piece of equipment in order to install it in a prison? And everybody clubbed together and they said, look, every time we do, there's nothing if there's something comes redundant on the track, then yes, we can give it to you and we can put it in there. So with zero money, we were able to start to collect things to be able to install it in this environment, not only to help individual people, but also to help the wider society. And I never imagined that was possible. So I challenge you, as organisations, businesses, leaders, people, instead of saying, well, actually, I need a budget, what would actually happen if you had zero budget? I have another story about sheep, but I don't have time to tell it now. But do come and get me afterwards. Yeah, it's brilliant, so it's worth staying around for. The last bit is around autonomy. What's the time? I don't know how much time I have left. Loads of time, 5 minutes, okay, so last bit is around autonomy. We talk about this a lot, but it's going to be pretty quick, really. Be able to help your teams become more autonomous. Let's start with actually having some sort of business strategy and vision. Call it a product vision, call it whatever, I don't really care. But something that actually people can see and look at and be like, that's where we're heading. And then trust the people to do it. It's fairly simple. The number of organisations that I've been to in the past and be to now is there's a real lack of strategy and vision. And if we can help them do that, we can help our teams become more innovative and creative and autonomous. So, time for boredom, 1 hour a week, hackathons, whatever you want to call it. Innovation bot, starting with zero, and actually having a vision or a strategy to look at. Right, what about me in the next 5 minutes? So me is broken down into U, USB. Oh. Let's call the first user or customer. And this goes back to the autonomous vision, the autonomy and having the business vision. As users and customers, as people, what are we doing? What are we doing to give value to that customer? Now I'd like to bring back the old 5 whys. Who's heard of 5 whys? Great, 5 whys. So basically, usually it's a bit of a sort of problem solving. You've had an issue and then you're like, why has this happened? Why has this happened? Why has this happened? Why is everybody gets involved? Why? Yeah, okay, you're not that kind of crowd, that's fine. Well, instead of just using it for that, why can't we use it for, okay, you're telling me to do this. Maybe I don't have much autonomy over my work. Why can't you just ask why? Just simply, why am I doing this? What value is it bringing? And is it customer focused? It's really simple, but yet for some reason it comes back to this, there's a bit of kind of, maybe anxiety or a little bit of nervousness to say, I just want to ask why I'm doing this. I just want to find out why I'm doing it. I'd much rather come into work every day and know why I'm doing something and know that it's bringing value. So if we've got lots of me's building up this business and we're all knowing what our value is, then I think that is a good place to be and we can start to be really creative. The S. The S is for speaking up. I don't know why I forgot that. So for speaking up, do we have the ability as use me's, as us, to be able to speak up within our organisation? Because if I've got an idea and I think, actually, I'm going to go back today and say, look, I want to have an hour of boredom, am I able to speak up and actually do that? Now, I want to talk a bit about, in about 30 seconds, about assertiveness. Now, assertiveness, I talk a lot about this to people and teams and individuals of how can we be more assertive? Being assertive, it isn't rude, it's not aggressive, but it's saying, I feel like this, and this is a scenario, and this is what I kind of want to do. So if we can have people who have the skill of assertiveness in our organisation, and we can encourage people to speak up and actually do something about it, then that could be, that could bring a lot of creativity, it could bring a lot of innovation. The last one is the B, USB. Now, B is standing for being bold. So you're focused on your customer, you're speaking up, and you're doing it in an assertive way, not in an aggressive way, not in a rude way, not in any sort of way, but in an assertive way, and you're being bold. Now, when I talk about being bold, I want to be speaking about that in an actionable way. You know, maybe I'm talking to other people saying, oh, you know, I've had this idea, what do you think? And they talk, and then we gather people, and then we actually do something about it. What I get really tired of is us talking about innovation, talking about all these things, and not actually doing anything about it. So I really encourage you to be bold and take that step. And it actually doesn't matter if you look silly. It doesn't matter if it doesn't work. At the end of the day, when they said they were going to put some metal blocks in the sky and fly people from A to B, they thought they were mad. So be a bit mad. Be a scientist. Think differently. And that's really it. That's the innovation funnel. Hopefully you've got lots of things to take away, given yourself time, money, your team's autonomy in that vision, customer focused. Oh, speaking up and being bold. And I introduce Ed. That's it. Thank you. Sorry.